Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Today's 9/11, and I'm joining you with some insights on different ways that we can determine the truth. And it makes sense to me that there's a lot of important things going on right now, whether it is the anniversary of 9/11. Whether it's the fact that the Queen passed earlier this at the end of last week, we're still in that process. Let's see what else. Kids are back to school. We've got some rapid changes that are happening both in our institutions, around our world, within ourselves. And what we're also seeing is our relationships are changing. People are dropping off really fast, family, friends, colleagues, partnerships. And I wanted to sort of look at, what are some ways that we can know what's actually true for ourselves and what isn't. And so this is navigating sort of the energy of ourselves and relationships. So as a coach who's worked within family systems, parent-child relationships, partner-to-partner relationships, and looking at it from the lens of both therapeutic and metaphysical, it helps if we understand the ways that we can sort of align with the truth within ourselves. So this has just been this ongoing, like the next gold nugget shows up, and this is what we're going to talk about today. So it's helpful to have your own inner guidance working with you, because what it does is it helps you develop a trust in yourself, which is when I feel something, when I know something, when I experience something, I feel aligned. I feel stabilized. I can create my own momentum and go forward, right? I know what works for me. I know how to navigate, and I know how to trust the flow of things that are happening. So this is where our own inner guidance is going to be crucial right now, as to what are you hearing outside? What are those who are close to you saying? What are your children saying and experiencing? And how do you navigate with what works for you? Right. So, those of you who know me well know that Susie Miller is one of my key influencers. I participate in an integrational call once a week with her, and there's usually anywhere between 15 to 50 of us on the call. And what we work on is what's going on energetically and what tools can we align with. So what she focused on this last week was that at this time, between the astrological alignments, between the energy shifts on the planet, between what's going on, what we're going to experience is three main areas: mental, physical, and emotional reactions and experiences. So when some thoughts are coming up, we're going to go like, maybe they're just coming up because it's time to sort of push them away. Emotions are going to come up, triggers are going to come up, and also physical ailments like sore shoulders or headaches or toothaches or feet that cramp up in the middle of the night, and you're like, this has not happened to me before. So when these things sort of rise up through our energy field, it's important to sort of go, oh, that's interesting, and then just simply let it go through. We don't have to process it. We don't have to hold on to it. We don't have to explore it and dive into it and wonder why is it here. We just go, well, there's that, and we just keep moving it through. So if we have mental, physical, and emotional experiences at that time, it's because the atmosphere is changing. It's because we are as a human collective, going through a lot of changes and upgrades, and it's going to change our internal perspectives as well. So as these experiences come up, we will feel discomfort. Makes sense, right? Agitation, nervousness. We may need to sleep, and we've been taking naps during the day. We're exhausted, or we may be restless and not sleeping at all. And, last night's full moon. So today's Sunday, the full moon on Saturday and Friday were both so bright. And, I've got windows all over my house. So the moon's coming in on all different sides. And I'm like, whoa, this is really powerful moon. We're also going to experience some confusion and some anger. Those are just the ones that I grabbed. I'm sure you're going to have your own version of what has been working for you and what hasn't been working for you. So there's three ways that I've been using repetitively in my coaching over the last 6 months that just sort of keep coming in, and I'm keep grabbing them, to identify and to trust yourself, and to identify your own truth for you, because we have, there are global truths, there are cultural truths, and then there are the ways that our body aligns with those truths and tells us what is really true for us. And it takes a lot of courage when our body truth is different than what's going on outside in the collective or even within our family system, right? So, the first tool is alignment. We are in alignment or we are out of alignment. We are on track or we are off track. This is where the physical shows up. So it would look like my body feels really comfortable and my joints don't hurt when I'm doing this, right? There are synchronicities that fall into place, phone calls, bank deposits, things like that, where you're like, wow, everything just worked exactly the way I need it to. There's a natural feedback to at each step that you do. And what I notice is when we're in alignment, we're moving forward. We are in forward momentum. Okay, so we're aligned and it's effortless. It doesn't take very much to move us through that. And the projects and the things that we take on, we do them because they're fun. We like them. So, for instance, one of my favorite things to do in September, when once the sun stops beating at 85 to 90 degrees and it starts getting down to the 70s, I'm like, time to bring out the fall clothes. And I will literally take the house from top to bottom, clean the windows, prepare, switch the bedding, do everything. And some people will look at me and go like, that is torture for me. And I'm like, no, these are the fun projects. Because as I'm aligning with the fall, I notice that there are things that I have so much more energy to do and I love doing them. Okay. So alignment is the first way to find truth, and that's through our physical body and through our physical embodiment. Okay. Number two is resonance or dissonance. So resonance is where we feel the vibration, the energy, or the emotions, which is my heart, my field. It's compatible. Like everything just sort of, as they say, resonates, as it vibrates in the same capacity as what's around me. And there's no agitation. My body relaxes, my heart opens. It's almost like I can feel my chest open and I'm a lot more vulnerable and a lot more available. I'm attuned to myself and to my environment. Attraction happens like, ooh, go that way. Yeah, sure, go that way. So this coming weekend, I'm going to participate in the Whitefish singer-songwriter festival, because last year I stumbled onto it by accident and just followed different artists for 2 days at different times throughout the day when they were playing, and could feel the resonance of just like what happens to me when I'm watching somebody doing vulnerable music and sharing their own lyrics and their own creation in public, sometimes for the first time or under the scrutiny and guidance of mentors. And so like that's where the resonance starts to work for me, is that time disappears and everything is effortless again, energetically, and I just move. So when someone says it doesn't resonate with me, or it does, or the term, excuse me, that we can also use is that there's dissonance, which is no matter how many times I try to step into that place, my whole body goes like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." Don't go there, don't do it. And so when we're in resonance, our emotions are showing us what the truth is naturally, easily. Okay. So that the number three. So if we have physical in alignment and we have emotional with resonance, then the way that we approach truth mentally is through congruent or incongruent. And so when we look at congruent, it's like when something makes mental sense. When you put two pieces of the puzzle together and you go, yeah, of course, they go there. That makes sense to me. Or I can build this way, or these things go in sequence, and the next sequence that comes, the next piece may not be something I thought it was going to be, but it fits and it makes sense, right? It's when the information aligns, when you're compatible with it, when it's the same, when your mind can accept and agree and support what it's experiencing. So really, ultimately, is when we are congruent, when we have congruence in our body, in our mind, right? Our mind is at ease and it stops reacting and it loosens control. So it's doing a mental assessment and going like, well, that next step that makes sense to me. Whether it's a choice to move in together, whether it's a choice to have your child tested, whether it's a choice to really start reading food labels and make decisions, different decisions for what to alleviate some of the things that haven't been working for you. It's when your mind goes, of course, let's just do that. And so there's this congruence. that tells us we're in alignment. So whether it's alignment, whether it's resonance, or whether it's congruence, these things are undeniable ways to accept and ease into our beliefs, into our trust in ourselves, into our trust in the truth. So part of what I do each week is I give you tips. So I have 5 tips for you on what to do, how to access any one of these from sort of a step-by-step process, right? So number one, um, really look around and go, what am I experiencing right now? What is it I'm actually experiencing? What's going on in my body, in my mind, in my field, and sort of access it and identify it. Because we're looking at, am I in comfort? Am I in ease? Or am I in discomfort and there's anxiety or agitation, or I feel closed and not able to be vulnerable at all? So what we do is we just go, what am I experiencing right now? Let's do a check-in, right? That's number one. Number two is to identify what's working and what's not working, and to be really observant with yourself and honest. Like, I had a girlfriend come and stay for the weekend, right? And so what I'm noticing is that I get really agitated when people are in my house because I get nervous. And yet this weekend, I have had absolutely no nervousness. It's been effortless to just sort of get up, say hi, make coffee, sit down and chat. And so what I noticed is that when I'm observing myself, I'm noticing that I'm not in any kind of reaction, and I'm experiencing alignment, which is like, oh, this is a new one for me when I have company over. Now, part of identifying what's working and not working is to avoid the whys. Because as soon as we go into why is it working? Why isn't it working? We go up into our head and we start to grab and scan and overactivate the brain. So let's stay away from the whys and go into what. What is working? What is not working, and move from that position. So number three, um, flesh them out, bring them up bigger. Whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental. So if it's physical, can I see the next steps? Does the track make sense? Is it in alignment? Does my body, what does my body feel? What are my emotions? Is there resonance? Does it resound with who I am? Can I feel the field kind of lining up with it? Or mentally, does it make mental sense for me to be able to do this? Right? So flesh it out and bring it bigger and go, oh. So for example, when it's not working, might be what we're experiencing right now with kids in middle school, kids in freshman year of high school, or kids in 5th and 6th grade, especially. However, all kids who are in public or school systems at this time may be coming home. And no matter what you say or do, you could tell that they're not in their bodies. They're not resonating. There's something that's not making sense. So they're out of alignment and they're not resonating and they can't tell you what's going on. So this is where we start to go, I wonder what's going on. Where can I put this child where they relax and they open up? And where am I seeing them closed and agitated and discomfort, and what topics? So we want to flesh it out and bring it up bigger so we can start to see it more often. Number 4 is acknowledge what you've discovered, which might look like, wow, my body makes sense and my heart makes, my resonance makes sense, but my mind will not put this one down, right? So like acknowledge what you're discovering about yourself, because this is an inside job. No one is going to be able to tell you if you're aligned or if you resonate or if you're congruent with what's going on. So you listen to what your body is saying, you listen to how you feel, and how is your mind handling all of this information, and does it make sense to the mind, and can the mind loosen and stop creating fear, reaction, fight or flight? Number 5 is this is the big one. Once we know that this is the truth, let's just say that you've discovered that every single day, Monday through Friday, your child is more intense, and that they start to loosen up Friday night, Saturday morning, and by Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, they're in this beautiful space. And then Sunday night, when you start talking about school, they start closing up again, right? Whatever it is, You've experienced it, you've brought it up, you have an idea of what the truth is for you, what you're noticing. I think my child might be unhappy in school. I think our country is having some emotional responses to this anniversary. I think we are, I am feeling that there's some big stuff coming ahead, and part of me wants to get ready for that. Whatever that is that you can put your hand on your throat chakra and you can use your voice to state what you noticed, to say it from all truth. So one thing is, once you state it, is that it really does require that you pay attention to it. So if you sit down with your, let's just make it up and say you're a fifth grader, and you say, I'm noticing that you're pretty tense throughout the week and that you really relax on the weekends. And I'm wondering if it has something to do with school. And then you allow that your child to tell you, if they can, however they tell you, that something's not working for them at school, or something's not working with a friend or the teacher or the subject or something, right? And so what we do is we support ourselves during this statement of the truth, because it isn't towards or against, other people, places, and things. What it is saying what you need, or what you've determined your child needs, or what you know that you need in order to navigate through this world. So we advocate for ourselves, we advocate for the others, and we use this truth to state it, which is, maybe you go in and you meet with the school and you say, I'm concerned because, Sunday night through Friday afternoon, my child is nervous. They have digestive issues, their anxiety's up, and they're a totally different child on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. So something's going on at school and I want to talk about it. So now we're in our truth. And then we use those same skills to navigate through what's going on with my body, what's going on with my field, my energy, what's going on with my mind. And it's totally okay to have a different opinion than your spouse, than your parents, than your friends who have kids in the same school or job, or, extended family. Know that your truth is not going to align often with everybody else, unless you're in a wonderful situation, which, phenomenal. And if you aren't, then there's going to be a little bit of a rub, because your truth is going to bump into those. So what we're going to talk about next week is what happens when we have people-pleasing behavior and we're starting to align with our truth, and our truth puts an edge, a level of discomfort into that people-pleasing, if they're happy, I'm happy behavior. So this is what I've been doing more of over the last probably 6 months to a year, is really focusing on where we can shift and transform energy and our understandings of energy in our relationships and within ourselves. I have always, well, not always, I have at this point 2, maybe 3 coaching spots open for September, October, into November. And as you're bringing yourself and your family into the chaos of elections, of holidays, of you name it, whatever you think is going to create some instability, that you may consider doing some coaching with me. So you can find me on denisestryden.com. Have a fabulous Sunday, and take some of these tools into the week and see what you notice. Have a great time. See you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. How'd it sound?